You hold XRP, you're already rich. In today's video, we're going to be going over a number of different statements from Donald Trump, the White House, and other countries who are involved in the ongoing tariff war because the economy is starting to bounce back following one of the worst days we've ever seen in history for the stock market. And of course, the crypto market was pretty bloody as well. So what we can see here is $2 trillion was just added to the US stock market at open. And as you can probably already guess, XRP and other cryptocurrencies have also gone up a decent amount as well. And we're seeing there's a number of different reasons for this. It seems that most countries that had the retaliatory tariffs put on them are now coming out and having conversations with Donald J. Trump. This was a post from Donald J. Trump's Truth Social. He says, "I just had a great call with the acting president of South Korea. We talked about their tremendous and unsustainable surplus, tariffs, shipbuilding, large-scale purchase of U.S. LNG, their joint venture in the Alaska pipeline, and payment for the big-time military protection we provide to South Korea. They began these military payments during my first term, which are billions of dollars, but Sleepy Joe Biden, for unknown reasons, terminated the deal." Now, of course, he's essentially saying towards the end of this that China also wants to make a deal badly, but they don't know how to get it started. We're waiting for their call. It will happen. God bless the USA. Takes a jab at China, who has responded aggressively to the tariffs and is essentially saying everyone else in the world is looking to talk with the US and find some kind of deal. And so in general, the markets are feeling pretty good about this. They think, okay, maybe we overreacted. And of course, XRP, Bitcoin, the crypto market is actually recovering very well, as is the stock market. This is the official statement. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper on this whole idea with China and how this could be the potential catalyst moving forward, because it's the only real piece to the puzzle here, which still has yet to be resolved. We can see that China respond very aggressively to Trump's tariffs. They raised their tariffs. Trump announced that he's going to raise his tariffs by about 50% on about April 9th, he was saying, if China does not come forward and talk to them today. So sometime today, we're expecting China, hopefully, to call the United States of America. If China does not do this, then Trump is going to raise tariffs and China is going to raise tariffs again. And this will completely stop pretty much all trade from happening between the United States of America and China. Now, how you guys feel about that in the comments, I don't know. It's up to you. Let me know what you guys actually think about that. I'm really curious. But overall, I think this is going to be a really interesting time in American and Chinese history with their trading relations. We've never seen anything like this before in the entire history. Now, I want to know what you guys think. I think a lot of you guys probably think that U.S. is going to come out of this on top. How do you think this is going to affect the U.S. economy? Do you think we're going to see another massive sell-off in the event that this happens? Now, personally, I was looking at some of the details behind what China could do to try and hurt the U.S. and what the U.S. could do to try and hurt China back. And the one thing that China does have is a lot of U.S. securities. And so maybe they'll try selling their bonds in an attempt to destabilize the American economy. That's a possibility. But I also realized because China holds massive reserves in the US dollar, this would also really affect them too. So it would be essentially a suicide attempt to damage the US economy, but it's something that they might try to do slowly. Maybe if they sell little bits of bonds here and there, it will eventually force the United States to raise their interest rates, and this would probably cause a very tough economic situation in the United States, considering Trump just wants to lower rates right now, according to what he's saying. Now, what's happening in China following all of this is the Chinese yuan is actually falling to its lowest level in 2 years before they started the majority of their quantitative easing or money printing in their country. So this is very interesting. I mean, it had grown in strength a good amount over the last couple of years following the money printing, which seems a little bit counterintuitive, but when you see how quickly their economy is growing and how much productivity they're pushing out of their country, it makes a lot of sense. And now we're seeing the Chinese yuan weaken following this. Now, whether or not this trend continues is yet to be seen, but this is also what Trump wants. He wants to basically reduce the purchasing power of everybody around the world, including the US dollar, so that he can refinance the US debt, lower the interest rates, and of course, get into a very strong economic position. Now, China, of course, does not want this right now because they're actually experiencing the polar opposite problem of the United States, which is deflation. There's just not enough demand for the goods that they have in the market, so people have to lower the prices, which is literally the opposite of inflation. The S&P 500 extends gains to 4% on the day as well. insanity, right? And so it started with a massive open, huge numbers, and then following that, an additional 4% on top of all of that. That is just insanity. And you can see that there's a lot of other developments happening outside of this as well. This is some stuff that I'm really bullish on, okay? Because XRP is making some real big moves right now. I wanted to mention that NYSE Arca has officially approved the listing and registration of the 2x long daily XRP ETF. This is huge, right? XRP ETFs are going to be coming. I want to remind you guys of this. It becomes easy to forget about that with everything else that's going on with tariff and trade wars and all of those big headlines and the massive fluctuations in price. But long-term ETFs, those are still happening, right? We got to think this is going to be sometime this year that we're going to see ETFs, and that's going to bring in a lot of volume. Also, Ripple just announced a massive acquisition of Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, which is one of the largest deals ever made in the crypto space. You can see prime brokers managed by the banks for the most part, like Hidden Road, have proven themselves as the trusted intermediary for the largest hedge funds, market makers, OTC desks, quant traders, and more. Ripple has been a customer of Hidden Road for years, and now we know their breadth of expertise firsthand, clearing $3 trillion annually for 300 plus of the top financial institutions globally. This is crazy. So essentially what Ripple just did is they acquired this massive payment provider and trusted intermediary, and now they're going to be throwing it on the XRP ledger. You can see what he says right here. This is the capital and activity that will tap into XRP and the XRP ledger's bread and butter, instant, efficient, scalable, and low-cost movement of value. Instead of waiting 24 hours to settle trades through fiat rails, Hidden Road will be using the XRPL for clearing portions of trades and most consequentially, using RLUSD as collateral across its prime brokerage services, including cross-asset, crypto, and traditional instrument trades. With this deal and the backing of Ripple's significant balance sheet, Hidden Road will exponentially expand its capacity to service its pipeline and become the largest non-bank prime broker globally. Guys, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This is exactly what the XRP army has been wanting. Instead of, trying to partner with these different companies who are in direct competition with us, why don't we just acquire them? That's what Ripple just did for $1.25 billion, and now they're going to be able to actually start using the XRP ledger and showing the world just how efficient and amazing it really is going to be in a massive way. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm super excited about the future of XRP, as you guys should be too. I know these trade headlines and all this uncertainty can be a little bit scary at times, but what we've seen is, yes, the markets do see a giant dip following the trade wars. This was as expected. I talked about this on my channel literally for the last 2 weeks. Sorry for repeating the message so much, but it's true. And then we see a massive recovery. And that massive recovery is incredible for the XRP holders and people that are buying those dips. And of course, also using a little bit of leverage to maximize their gains. And so I want to make sure that you guys all have the opportunity to get access to all my trades so you can take full advantage, get up to 400% a month on your trading, and of course, make money on those dips when other people are losing money. If that sounds good to you, well, you can join for free if you just click my website link down below and follow the easy 3-step process where you'll get access to my Discord and Telegram, where of course you can copy all my trades for free once again. So with that being said, guys, yeah, I think the future is looking really good. We have these massive Hidden Road partnerships. We have XRP ETFs. And yes, I think the Chinese-American trade war thing is going to get figured out eventually. And most other countries are already coming to the talking table to figure this out, like South Korea, Europe, and many others. So it's not going to be much longer. It's just a matter of us riding out this storm and just doing our absolute best to get the word out there about XRP. And of course, also making as much money as we can along the way through Crypto Crusader. So click on the link down below, hit the like and subscribe button if you support the content, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.